Almost done. 53. That is the most annoying thing about the hang is that you got to do the stupid link every time, and I forget it every time. All right, that's that. Rightio. Damn it.
Hey, look. Do we have anybody watching us? Did I have stuff in my teeth? No.
Okay.
I guess I don't need to do that. I can just look at you. Weird.
What was weird looking at me? Is that what you're saying? All right. We're on the air. He goes, make sure it's up. Up. Time. Music.
This is R. Morton Mon.
And I am Charles McFall. And we are all about bigger, badder, better, more.
Bigger, badder, better, more. We're here to help others be awesome.
And you've landed on the comedic motivational show, Success Freaks.
Welcome everyone to the #1 Roll with the Changes comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. Today's working title is episode 153, Change is the Only Constant. And today we're coming at you semi-live from the Bears Den in Monticello, Georgia. And right now, right next to me is the dark side of positive, Charles McFall. Give me a hand up, brother. We're in the same place. Give it a hand up.
Ow. Ow. I did not have enough coffee for that this morning.
Not your cup of power. What is that?
It's my cup of sexy this morning. That's
cup
what
of sexy?
It says you're hot. I like
Oh. It is early right now. It's 10:25 in the morning, so it's early for you.
I could do a show easily, and you will never know that it's that early until you stand up and start doing backflips and karate chops and that kind of thing.
Karate chops.
So today is transitions again, and change is the only constant is what we're calling this one.
Yes, sir, because that is very true. Actually, it comes from a quote, and we had to look it up because it sounded familiar. Change is the only constant in life from Heraclitus. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. So.
Heraclitus? Is he a good old Southern boy?
Yeah.
Heraclitus.
From Hazard County. You knew them Duke boys.
Change is the only constant.
Just a good old change. Never doing no harm. Now, and we're all going through a lot of change in our life, and as you know, that the Success Freaks have been experiencing it as well. Charles has been going through it. I have just closed out the Georgia Renaissance Festival, so I have 3 weeks off. I've stopped by here to do a last show that we can do together.
And that's been a good change for you. It used to be 10 weeks off.
Oh, 10 and 11.
And people go, oh, that sounds great, except when you work for yourself,
yes,
there's no vacation time or sick leave or any of that. So
yeah, the business isn't paying me money. I had to set money aside.
Yeah.
And it was I could do it. You
did it. You did it many
towards
times,
the end,
yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, I really need to work now. But now it's just like, oh, I want to do this break. So I'm going up to visit my sister. She doesn't know it yet. I got to call her today and go, hey, by the way, I'm stopping by. She lives in Pennsylvania. I'm going to spend a couple days there. And then it's upward to Pennsylvania, top half of Pennsylvania, to visit my good friend Eric Michael, Emo the Jouster. Those of you who know him and his family, and we spent a couple weeks there. And then it's Kenosha, Wisconsin for the Bristol Renaissance Fair.
So his signature move is, I would stab you with my spear, but I just don't care.
No, he's actually kind of a wild man.
Emo, the just.
Oh!
Thank you. Thank you for those at home who understood what I was saying.
Wow, there's an
Emo,
80s
the
reference or
jester.
90s reference.
Well, you don't think they have emo kids now?
No, you're right. No. You're right.
I mean, just because you're a grandpa now.
Now, speaking of, I'm not a grandpa. I'm a great uncle. Actually, I think I might be a
Yeah,
great
you think very highly of yourself.
I'm an okay uncle. If I was a great uncle, I'd be home more. Now, speaking of change, I just got my hair did a little while ago, and looking at you, you got yours chopped too.
Yeah, okay, so
Isn't that a good change? I thought it'd be a good
well,
change.
I like it shorter, but I told her it's been consistent. I go to a place where, even though I don't get the same person every time, it's easy enough to get essentially the same haircut. And I went on a Wednesday in an area with a lot of senior citizens, and that particular day of the week is Senior Citizen Haircut Day because they do it at a discount. And I think she was just in a flow because I felt like I walked out there with an old man haircut a little bit. But I make it work.
You
It's
look
fine.
more mature. How about that?
See, old man haircut.
That's
That's
shows
what
off
I'm
the
saying.
gray a little more. He didn't.
No,
do
that I don't
before.
mind. You know, I like the Reed Richards thing going on
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my grandfather actually
I think now
by
you're
40 he
stretching
was
it.
silver. So stretching it.
Yeah,
I got
Right.
you.
So you're getting this little bit of fluff, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to apologize for it, but you're getting this because it's one of the slight transitions we're doing, one of the slight changes we're doing, and also, again, as I said, this is the last time we're in the same space for a while. So we usually bounce off each other. I'm a little more bouncy than Charles is, but I've had coffee. I'm
Yeah.
working on a diet Snapple right now, and just boom, 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 shake the room.
I hate you sometimes.
So, speaking of change as the only constant, it seems to be the thing that's smacking us in the face. You go through your 20s, you're like, okay, I got my 20s down. And all of a sudden, boom, you're in your 30s, and you're like, your body changes, and your life changes, and okay, finally, I got my 30s down. And then, boom, you're in your 40s, and you're like, your life changes, your body changes. So you're constantly dealing with change. It happens in your relationships, it happens in your business, and it just happens. And you got to say sometimes, WTF? Why is this happening? I was rocking this right here. I had this down, and all of a sudden, this is smacking me in the face. Is there a good reason for it? Is there a good purpose for it? Or is it just something like most of the world for me to complain about and go, ugh, change sucks? What do you think, Charles?
Yeah, I think you've said the phrase way too much and cursed yourself with we teach what we most need to learn. And I was going through changes just naturally, and we've covered that in a lot of the shows. And you said, well, let's do transitions for June. I went, okay. Because now you're throwing your hat in the ring. This is not what Doug Grady talked about exactly. And then even as we're planning it, there was a certain phrase that came up about, it's almost like you're talking to yourself too. You're like, life changes. Just put your big boy panties on and suck it up. I'm like, after the fourth or fifth time I heard you say, I was like, what are you trying to learn? What are you trying to do here? And sure enough, we had a conversation yesterday about how to change the show. And honestly, we both went into it not knowing what would happen. And you're going to see some of the effects today. You're going to see some of the more effects later on as we do it. But I think we both realized on the table, because of everything in life surrounding us, there was a chance that there was going to be no more Success Freaks. So there was not going to be a show. And that's not what came out of it. That was not the change that we're going to talk about today. But because we embraced change, because we took it on without being scared.
I'm
We're not scared. So because we said, all right, let's talk it out. It took about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
Or so.
and it was a good conversation. We recorded it, so bits and pieces of it
And
might
we
come
actually
out.
had Success Freaks Nolan in there with us.
Yeah, yep. And who was a distraction sometimes, like, we need to market better. It's like, that's not this conversation, dude. Yes, you're right, but no, he was very, very helpful in steering some of the ideas and keeping us from rambling and throwing in new ideas. So, but you got to be careful when you start saying, all right, I'm in the boat with you, which is basically what you're saying to me. You're all right, you're in for the ride. And now I think we're going to change for the better.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the unknown.
Yeah, definitely moving on to how can we make the show better? The thing that Charles and I both want to do is that we kept going back to is help others be awesome. How can we do that better? How can we reach the people that we're reaching now, and then reach more people out there with that, because that's one of the things that it actually feeds us. It actually helps us move forward. So by helping you be awesome, we're helping us be awesome. And one day we'll learn how to better do our grammar, but not today. Today is not that day, my friends. So that's the kind of changes we want to go through is developing a show that you're really going to want to spend more time with, that you're going to be more responsive to as well.
And if I may.
Yes, you may. Did you actually change the camera at all?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
When the first, no, I don't care.
Back.
In the first, no, I don't know. Yes, I did. So, but in the first step of change, you really have to make it selfish. The whole conversation literally was for me to you. I prepped you Monday nights. You wouldn't come in and get sidewiped. I wanted you to process and think and
that actually worked very well.
Yeah, well, it works for most human beings, honestly. I mean, that's just a line of communication. But I just don't get it. It's not working for me. And I forget exactly what you said, but you said something about it's doing this and this. And I was like, that's great, but it's not working for me. I don't get it. So really, the changes is coming because I needed something different. So when I hear you say to the audience that hopefully you'll like it more, it's like, well, no, I'm accepting that for myself. I want to like it more. Not that I've hated it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can hear me on the radio. I don't fake anything. There's times I'm like, screw this noise. It is.
Why am I doing this?
But we are coming up here on the break. But so I just want to reiterate there. The first step to good change, not bad change, to good change is to be a little selfish. To say, I need something different, and I think it's going to be a much better experience for everybody. So you know what? Stay tuned. We've got an email that we're gonna read and talk about. We've got more on change, about what's going on around us, and analysis of that. And we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going to come up in further shows and how it's going to be different. It's going to be a little more current, but it's going to be more exciting. I think it's going to be something you can jump into. So stay tuned. We shall return. Damn it, did it.
What'd you do?
I clicked in the wrong space on my recording. It's nothing big. It's now I have to make sure to click in the space to hit marker instead of just clicking in a dead space and hitting. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just an annoyance.
Right.
So you wanted to do the email in the third section.
Yes. So this one we're going to talk. I got actually a lead in.
Okay.
For this one.
8.
Based on what you're talking about, and then
59.
let's talk about a little bit more about change.
So talk to me about change in this one. This is what we're going to do. This, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
so it's fine. I just follow your lead.
Okay.
Just don't throw me something, and I'll throw you something. We'll just talk.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you wrote that. See, that's what the key to me is. Definitely write down an idea as it comes, and then we'll hit off of that.
Right. And that's actually been happening in the last 2 shows before this one. So and you're right. It is better.
I agree. And I've been writing, but for me, when I've been writing stuff down, it's for On Beyond because we have everything sectioned out. I think this might be a little better. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yep.
That's the next show. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. I'm going to do time and marker.
See.
8:59 on time. You ready? Time. Marker.
Wow! Welcome back, everybody.
I didn't even have the right camera on. Oh my God, it scared me so bad.
You know what? Well, Charles has been saying that. It seems like whenever we come back from a break, it's the same thing. I'm so bored. I'm like, all right, sir.
That's not exactly the phrase.
I bet you're awake now. Admit it, you peed a little, didn't you?
Well, that's one of the bodily functions that happen. That's for sure.
Yeah. In the last segment, you're talking about how the first step.
Lord, I apologize to all of you who are at work who just fell out of your chair, or if you're on the road and you swerved, because I'm in a desk and I fell out of. I've swerved a little bit on the road. I think. I don't know.
Are you better now?
I don't know.
Do you need to change your big boy pants? Is that what you're saying?
I might. Go carry on.
No, you're talking about in the last segment. The first step to a good change is what did you say? Do you remember?
Being selfish.
Being selfish, and I think that's good. I think the part of it is got to be embrace the change. Once you've accepted it, once you've moved on, and I don't want to use the word accept. Let's move on from that. But once you've embraced it, then you can start being selfish. Then you're working on yourself. But first, you got to embrace. Let me finish,
okay,
Mr. Man. Let me finish. The first thing you got to do is embrace the fact that change is happening. It's going to happen in your life. This does not necessarily mean accept it. You don't have to accept the things that are going on. In fact, if you don't like them, that's where, as we say all the time, take responsibility, change your life. Don't like it, change your life. Change your mind, change your life. That's how this works. Change comes around a lot of times just so that you can see what you need to work on. Charles was lacking something in doing the shows this way. It's just like it's not moving me. I'm not enthusiastic about it, and that's important.
Yeah.
That's important for if you're working on a team, both sides, in a relationship, both sides. Hey, this relationship's great for me. Well, it sucks for me. Guess what? That's not a good relationship. And if it's great for you, you're still going to have to work on it. Period. So the first thing I think is embrace the change, and then you got to be a little bit selfish and work on that. Ready? Go.
I want to disagree with the acceptance thing. And this is me. This is totally me because I have other people around me, not just you, who are the same way. And when I commit to something, I'm just done. I've always been that way in my life. It's let go of the old, move to the new. and the church I'm in is actually going through some change as well. I mean, there's this word that Christians use that I pulled the Andre the Giant from Princess Bride. It doesn't mean what I think you think it means. Yeah, I quoted that wrong because that scared me. You just scared me. You threw me off. But you understand the word, you're using the word wrong, and the word is covenant. Christians use that so much. I'm like, you just don't know what you're talking about. This church knows what they're talking about, and I've gotten to where I'm like, I hate this word, because basically, covenant means we're in this together.
Right.
We're in the same mind. The same things happen. We're experiencing the same thing, and I'm going through a bankruptcy. The church is basically not legally not quite there, but they're going through a type of bankruptcy where this particular building, this particular connection of church is going away. And the bishop is going to do a new project. And that's all he's calling it. It's just a new project. I'm going to help him with it, so on and so forth. And it's not the bishop in the now with Jim Swilley that we talked about the TV show. He's still going to do that. But he's still going to have a version of unchurch is what I'm calling it. But that's not the point. The point is, I did get into a place where I needed to learn, and I connected to people. And more than you and I have connected. And we've gone through a lot of the same stuff together. And there's a point in time when you go, I don't want to be connected. I don't want to go through. I want to be connected to somebody who's rich and famous and changes the world. I want to be covenant with Oprah. Not. But it's okay. We go through the things we need to go through. But acceptance is what. Go ahead.
That's not the thing that
all right. I won't talk over you.
Please do. Change that. The thing is that I've learned, and maybe this is and this is why I'm stuck here, but I think the thing that my life is trying to teach me is that you're not going to get somebody who's going to hand you the world. You're not going to team up with those people. You're going to, eventually when you're ready for them, they're going to come into your lives, and you're going to find that you're more on a level playing ground with them.
You call me a moron?
I did not indeed.
You said you're moron level. That's what I heard.
I'm going to stab you in the eye with
you
my
better
pen.
accept it, boy.
I accept it.
When you say,
embrace, accept, enjoy the change.
Yeah, well, here's what I say about accept, because if you're not accepting, you're resisting. I mean, there's probably some middle ground there.
Right.
And maybe we hear
you're talking about
different.
the change, the fact that
the change is happening.
Maybe not. You may not like what's going on.
Right.
You can take it in another direction then. It's just like, hey, this doesn't work for me at all.
Okay.
All right, we're going to change, but I'm going this way.
There was definitely, and I hate to harp on this, but this is what's going on in life, is things were coming up with the house in my life financially. And yeah, I'm on the right camera. Okay, I'm pretty. But it was either we had to make that decision. Do we fight for the house and maybe sacrifice everything and believe in a better future? Because there is a better future, and my wife and I, we've been the universe to our will. But in that vein, you have to make sure you're in line with the universe, because it doesn't do a U-turn. It just bends slightly. We had the kids we wanted to have, and everything flowed in that direction. Do we say, we're going to keep this house? And what I realized was my heart's desire was to be able to affect the world,
right? To
change the world, to do what I do and make a living at it, and to even be bigger, better, more. But where I lived didn't fit that. And we've been talking, my wife and I, about how to get out of this house for a while, and to do it ourselves is very, very, very difficult. And then money even got less, so that made it even more difficult. So in this whole thing with the bankruptcy, is we can let it happen to us. That's the change. The change is coming. We wanted to move. Everything else is changing. The change is here. We could resist it, tried to keep the house, fought, and had a whole different outcome than we have now. But once we accepted this, we made the decision. That made me feel so powerful. It made her feel powerful.
Right.
And there was a phrase at one time, and it literally was a one-time thing, where my wife said, well, they're not going to come in and take this. Like, wait, I want to change that idea. Nobody's coming and taking anything. We are deciding what we're going to do and not do. And that is the key, and that's what we need to teach our kids here. And that's, to me, that's acceptance gives you power. Okay, we accept it, change is here. Now what are we going to do about it?
Right, and it sounds like that you committed to that change. That's another part of
Yeah.
it. You don't want to go, well, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this. Oh, look, I can still go back. Once you've committed to the change, you're committing to growth. You're committing to evolving. You're committing to leveling up to the next level of where you're going to be, so you can go on beyond where you are right now.
Yeah.
When you're committing to that, you're able to move forward. Now, although change is a noun, it requires action. It requires the verb from you. So it's not about, okay,
Change is a noun.
change, noun, person, place, thing is a thing.
Well, in your pocket's a thing, and
You're killing me, Smalls.
can it be both?
You're killing. Yes, absolutely, can be both.
Okay.
Right now, it's an.
I'm actually curious, and this is the new
Now-
part of the
right now
show
it's
where
a-
I interrupt and
it's an-
ask things.
It's an adjective because you are changing the subject. Co-host. Anyways, so as you're moving forward with that, you are going to have to take some action in here. You are going to have to be that person that goes, okay, I'm embracing the change in my life. I'm going to enjoy the change in my life. I know this is what happens. I know that change is a part of life. I'm not going to be scared of it anymore. And so I'm going to go on. And I used a tool. I'm going to talk about this in the fourth segment. I used a tool called What If Up before I came into this meeting with Charles. So instead of having great trepidation, although I had a little bit, I used some imagery. I had some thought processes that allowed me to go, hey, what if this turns into exactly where we need to go? What if this changes exactly where I need it as an individual, he needs it as an individual, and we need it as a team? And so thus far, it seems that way. So you're not just accepting, you're not just passive-aggressiving in your own life, you're also doing an action. You're going to work towards that change. You're going to enjoy the change.
And speaking of action, we need you to take action. We're going to talk about that in the fourth segment as well. And it's going to involve you being on the show. And starting off in the next segment, we've got an email that we're going to talk about that does involve change. So stay tuned. Always find everything at successfreaks.com and email us anytime, any day.
Nice.
9:59 again. Put it back on the right camera this time. So yeah, you're gonna come in and go right into the email then, huh?
All right.
Are you gonna scream at me again?
No.
Because that was different. I was not prepared. All right. Tom, you get 9:59, right?
I just hit go.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
So this is opposite. All right. Time marker.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Success Freaks, and we have this is the segment which we're going to talk about an email that somebody sent in, or actually a Facebook post, and we're going to chat about that. Myself is here, Charles is here, and we even have our redneck motivational friend Heraclitus. Heraclitus. He's in here somewhere, letting us know that change is the only constant in life, and that is how you will move forward and enjoy your life. So, getting to the Facebook page post by Catherine L. I know you say Success Freaks is not therapy, just a voice. I have a question, though, that kind of has been addressed in older shows to a point. How do you get rid of toxic people in your life if you are toxic yourself sometimes? I feel like I'm stuck in that situation, but am confused how to remedy it. Thank you for your time, and I wanted you to know that the show has been very influential to me. So, first of all, thank you, Catherine L. Go ahead, Charles.
I want to jump right in on that. When you say you're sometimes toxic yourself, no, you're always toxic to yourself, if you're toxic at all, I think.
I'm gassy sometimes.
When I held anger, you know what? There's a corner you can sit in right over there. When I held to anger, forehead on the door. No. When I held on to my anger, I was an angry person. And I lied to myself saying, I have a really long fuse, but when you pass that mark, man, it's on. That's what, well, the reality was, whatever my triggers were, and there were many, that if you didn't tiptoe around me, you would hit them, and I would yell and scream. And I'm not talking about now where you've seen me yell at my kids, and I'm talking about it was bad. It was brutally bad. I mean, I was a rageaholic.
Right. Sound like too good. That with the comment you made is you were giving yourself permission to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be this way, but I'm gonna be this way.
And then I did. I attracted angry people.
Yeah.
But my point is to start off with, when you know you're toxic some of the time, you're toxic all the time. You just know how to cope with that. We were watching Bishop Flunder last night, and she said, birds don't fall out of the sky to their death, and fish don't drown in the sea. We as human beings have learned to adapt into situations we're not supposed to be in. And I think that applies right here with that, is with my anger, with your hair gel, with everything else. No, I didn't know what to throw at you, but with Catherine's toxicity is if you carry a part of it. Now, I was also a happy person. I carried joy with me. I was also a loving person. I mean, you're not 100% this, but I wanted to hit that word sometimes. Is no, you're toxic all the time because you carry that toxicity with you.
It sounds like you're just hey, I'm toxic sometimes, I'm angry sometimes, I'm this. Yes, that you're aware of. Then there's those times that you were that way that you're not aware of. You know, and I've had people come up to me and they act a certain way, and then they act a certain way again, they act a certain way again, and I'm like, do you realize you're doing this? And I'm like, well, I'm not like this all the time. Yeah, but this is how I see you.
Well, I would disagree. It's not. Yes, it is how you see them, but they are like that
I'm just
all
talking
the time.
about them being unaware.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
well, that's
you're
what I'm
not
saying.
aware.
They are like that all the time.
Right.
They just don't know it.
Yeah. Now, especially in Catherine's case, and in any other case, I think that
How do you fix it?
you are. Well, first I want to talk about you're kind of attracting these people. You know, a like attracts like. Water rises to its own level. So, you know, we believe in the law of attraction here. You know that we believe in that. You know, whatever your belief system is, what's stirring the quantum soup, and it's helping create your reality around you. So, if you want to get rid of toxic people in your life, the first person that you need to change is you.
Yeah.
That
I'm
person in the
sorry.
mirror. What were you gonna say?
I thought, because you said get rid of toxic people, I was so like, don't say get rid of you. No, that's not what we want to say. You didn't, but it just tickled me. It's like, oh, I heard you're going to say get rid of you. But no, you're right. You got to change you. But how do you do that? I will give you an exercise that worked for me.
Yeah.
And I've written an article about it before. I'm sure we've mentioned it. But it is an exercise, and it only works the best way.
What's
for
the
you
name
to
of the
work it.
article so we can pip it out?
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember which one I wrote it in. It's on our
Weird
Success
name.
Freaks thing.
All right, we'll find it.
Yeah, we can find it and link it in. It's anyway. It might be the Building a Better Me article. I don't know. Anyway, that exercise is this: as you're thinking about being toxic and attracting these people, and really that's the headspace you're in, that's the emotional space you're in. Going, okay, I don't want to be this way, which doesn't work. First, what do you want to be? And that's an active step. Like I think you said, more that you can change your ways until you change yourself. That is a step. What do you want to be? Act that way. But here's how you dig it out. As you're thinking about being toxic, just let your mind wander. What is your first memory in life? What is your earliest memory? What pops into your head right now? And really focus on that memory. And think about it. And it'd take too many stories to tell you, too long to tell you a story about it. But once you get that memory, you really write it down. Unless you can trust somebody and tell them about it, tell them about it. You know, email us about it if you want. That's fine. But write it down so you can really get all the details. Just focus on this is what's happening. This is what's came in. I know a friend of mine said she remembered sitting in front of a TV eating Cheetos or something, and her mom came in and yelled at her for something. And she couldn't remember what her mom was yelling at and this and that, but I said, okay, that's fine. That's all she could remember was sitting in front of a TV, eating some chips or something, and her mom came and yelled, okay, now stop. How does that make you feel now? Right now, as an adult, or however old you are, how does it make you feel right now? Now, if this happened 2 days ago, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about usually over 20s or in this point where they're analyzing their life and they're thinking about childhood. So how does it make you feel now as an adult? That's step 2. Write down that. How does it make you feel? What's going on? Then the third step is, what does that tell you about who you are right now? And then when you identify these things, it's not a easy fix. It's not a, oh, that's done. But it will show you something. And in psychology, this is true. In psychology, they have proven once you are aware of a trick, once you are aware of something that you were not aware of before, it will not work on you anymore.
Right.
Now, does that mean you're instantly not toxic? No. This might not actually have anything to do with toxic. My first memory when I did this was not anger. It was about stealing my joy and how protective I was of myself. But I dealt with that and became more open. And slowly but surely, I got to the anger and got to deal with that. So that's the exercise there. Early memory, write the details down. How do you feel right now thinking about that memory? And then what does that tell you about what you do right now? And you just keep doing that over and over.
Yeah, and that should definitely get you well on the path for where you want to go. It's all about changing who you are. And once you change who you are, that's going to attract a different kind of people. You're going to start noticing other people as well. First of all, you're only noticing the toxicity. You're only noticing toxic people. It's like, that's all I see around me. Okay, that's also pulling in more of that. You know, there are actually non-toxic people around you. It's up to you to start noticing that and looking for that. Even in those people, there may be people that they're so toxic you need to cut them out of your life. I mean, if it's hurting you, if it's hurting your growth, you know, and these may be people who are very, very close to you. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I don't accept this in my life anymore. It's up to you what you allow. But the first change, you know, they say the only way you're going to have love in your life is to love yourself first.
Heraclitus said that too.
He did. Heraclitus said that.
I don't know.
And so it's the same thing here. You need to get that toxicity out of your life, however you want to do it, and then you're going to start attracting like-minded people. You know, another thing is, listen, if you want to go to breathe the clean air, leave the garbage dump. If you happen to be around toxic people all the time, find another group of people to hang out with.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but they're my good friends, and I love them. Yes, but you're also loving that experience, and you're allowing that in your life. You don't want that anymore. You want a better life? Find other friends. And notice I didn't say better. It's just different.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, to work backwards, there's 2 points I wanted to hit on real quick.
Boom, boom.
When you get burned severely, or you have any kind of open injury, let's say it's even a paper cut, you're going to put a Band-Aid on it, right? You're going to cover it because you don't want to expose to things that can hurt it. I mean, to me, it was the burn. I mean, there's a burn ward that you cannot just walk into.
Right.
You have to go through special procedures. They have to be cleaned. I mean, it's so dangerous to go in there because they can catch anything. Sometimes what you're dealing with is so dangerous to you that you can't be around other people, because as soon as you start fixing a little bit, that's an open wound that has not healed yet. You just cleaned out some of the dirt or some of the problem. You can't be around those people.
Right.
You have to take care of yourself first. The second quick point, well, actually, you know what? I'll hit it in the level up part. You know, we'll do that. You know what? You tell people where they can find us right this second.
You can find us at successfreaks.com. All of our social media is there. If you want to email us, just like this person who actually, they contacted us through Facebook, facebook.com/successfreaks, or you can email us, contact@successfreaks.com. We want your questions.
Yes.
We want to make this a solid part of the show. So please contact us, and you're going to get this kind of treatment.
Absolutely. And coming up next, we're going to tell you how we level up our lives through change. And I'm going to hit that last point about how you see people. All that coming up next. Stay tuned. All right.
How you feel about this?
It's good. I think it will definitely take time, and we'll both adjust, because I want almost a one-on-one conversation, which is probably not really good for us for the show. And you're still talking to the audience, so I think we're going to meet in the middle as we grow together. More talking to me and talking to them. Now, you know, we'll find, but it's better than before, definitely.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. Let's.
And it helps that we had an email on the day of, like, we got to talk to people.
Right.
That's connected.
Right.
You know.
This is definitely something we can keep morphing towards, like you said. I do like talking to the people, but let's bring more of talking to each other in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's what we do here to level up. Well, we did it in the second segment.
The second segment is
the second segment you started off talking to them, setting up, but then we talked to each other. Blah 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 blah. The first segment we did talk to each other.
So second segment, let's design it.
So it sounds like I'm here. No, I don't know. And for those of you watching at home, on Google Plus, on YouTube as it's been recorded, at some point we're going to level up our resources to where this is actually an edited video, and it's just like the show. But if you're hearing me talk right now on the video, you're getting all the behind the scenes. You're getting us in between segments. We're just videoing, recording what we're doing. So somebody was watching earlier, and I know it stays up on our Google Plus page. I don't know if we can ever take that down. Who knows? But there will be a more polished version sometime in the future. Maybe not of this particular episode, but of other things. So I've got 10 minutes and 49 seconds on the clock. You know what? I'll lead us in.
All right.
And I'm going to talk about that last thing. And
let's do that, because you emptied it. You dumped it. Get.
All right.
I'm sorry. Wait, one more time. Get.
Time. Marker. Welcome back to Success Freaks. You know, we're sitting here talking about change is the only constant in life, and we're changing, right? We're trying to do things a little differently, give it a different energy, and it's working out. And I left it on Catherine's email. There's one other point where you're talking about you're attracting the toxic people in your life. So the last thing I wanted to say about that, and then I'll toss it to you, and we'll talk about how we level up and everything else, is maybe that's all you're seeing, because in all honesty, that's all you're seeing in yourself, or all you're living in right now. Maybe it's the loudest thing of all the things inside of you. It's the loudest thing you're living in. When I was angry, I was an angry person. You know, I've told that story. I'll tell it really quickly now. One time my wife and I were in a fight in the car, and she just looked at me and said, "You're just an angry person." And I laughed in her face, which is an awesome thing to do to your wife. You know, I did. I just laughed at her.
And then she became an angry person.
But it stuck in my brain, and I called my best friend at the time, who had known for longer than anybody else. And I said, "My idiot wife, she thinks I'm an angry person." And there was silence for a second on his side. And then finally goes, he literally said, there was silence. He paused and went, and you think you're not? And I went, what? Well, I did think I wasn't until you said something.
Now I'm getting a little pissed off.
Yeah.
Hulk mad.
But what I was seeing is I would always get angry at stuff and blah, 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 blah. I remember as I was hearing about toxic people around you, there was a time in my life when I was changing. I was growing, and the people around me weren't, and they were so needy, and they were literally pulling me back in. And there was this one person who just latched onto me. And I'm talking about, she would call me up, and I'd take her phone call, and she was sitting there playing with a gun in the background. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I'm thinking about killing myself. Oh, my God. Finally, I just hung up on her, which is a great thing to do, because I didn't think she was actually going to do it, and she didn't. But I was like, you're killing me. You're drowning me. I can't deal with you anymore. And our same group of friends that we always hung out with, they yelled at me. Not because of that. They didn't know she did that. I was like, you don't understand. She's so depressing and drowning me, and I can't stand on a table when I'm trying to get up out of the water and have you pull me back down. I can't help you. I didn't get to hang out with them for 6 months.
Right.
I said, because I did the right thing. I said, I'm not telling you to get rid of her. I just can't be around her. They did not like that, and 6 months later they found, oh, we get it.
What happened in that 6 months for you?
I grew to the point.
When you were not with your friends, when you were not surrounded by those people.
I could breathe.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And you didn't have anybody dragging you back, any of your friends, that person, anything else like that. You were able to step up out of the water onto that table and move on a little bit, so where you get a good foothold onto that next place you wanted to go.
Exactly. But all I could see was neediness. And I was being needy too. I needed to change. I needed help, and I didn't know how to get it. Only one friend out of that group actually stuck with me, and I realized what I saw in him was really what I was seeing in me. I was like, and I would yell at him, and he was so patient with me. It was awesome. And same way with my wife. The things that my wife and I would get in a fight about early on was the things that were in me. Well, you're doing this, you're doing this. It's like, but you're doing that, you're doing that. We're really just yelling at ourselves, but we don't realize it. So to Catherine, maybe the people in your life aren't as toxic as you think you are, because once you start cleaning out your toxicity, you might go, oh, it was myself rolling on them, but they still might be. But the whole burn unit still works.
Right.
Is that you still have to protect yourself. So if it is triggering these feelings, if it is pushing, you've got to be away from those people.
And be careful, because this gets back to what you don't like in other people is what you don't like in yourself, whether you know it or not. And here's the weird thing. I'm going to give you a weird example. I used to watch the TV show. It was Heroes. Mm-hmm. And one of the actors talks out of the side of his mouth. I'm like, God, that's so annoying. Why doesn't he fix that? I went to my on-camera acting class in Arizona, and I saw a couple of shots. I'm like, I do that. Not even realizing it. Now, I'm talking about a physical thing, but I found it to be true that way. But it certainly was something like this. If there's something you don't like about somebody else, if it's pissing you off, then there's something in you don't like. There's something in you that this is connecting with. So, of course, Catherine even said that. You know, she doesn't like toxic people, but she has toxicity in herself. That's the thing. You got to clean yourself up. And for one thing, they're going to annoy you less. It's not going to bother you, because it's just like it's not your thing anymore. The big thing that we're talking about is it's going to attract other people. So be careful with this, because what you don't like in somebody else is really something you don't like about yourself, just like Charles was talking about.
So here's the level up, and this is the bus. What is it that you're not liking about me that you, or in the past even, what is it you haven't liked about me that you realized was yourself?
Well, we talked about earlier, and this is not something I don't like. Well, yeah, this. We talked about even yesterday is that Charles is a great talker. He has great stories. He has great, he's great on the air.
I'm just awesome sauce.
He's just awesome sauce all the time. And when he did Bear Crawling Nation, he was, king of the roost, et cetera. It says and I'm like, dude, you got to give me that. You got to take a breath. You got to take a breath so I can insert, a comment in there. Otherwise, I'm just waiting for you to take a breath. And you're like, well, I'm just waiting for you to interject. It doesn't work that way. So what I don't like about myself is that I'm too quiet on that level. Is that he's a better talker than I am in that. Now, right now, I'm amped full of coffee, and I'm just, it's a good day for Morton.
I disagreed even yesterday, going, no, sir, you are a good talker. You just tell yourself you're not. You really are. If you go back and look at the early days and go back to any show this year, we're right in there. And I've also worked on sharing. But to throw myself under the bus, what have I gotten mad at you that really is about me is it was worse early on. That's still working on it now, but it's the don't. You'll come out and say, I don't want this, I don't want, and I'll get angry a little bit now. It used to be, shut up, but now it's like, and then, but okay.
Actually, yesterday,
and I'll say stop. I'll just say, because I found myself probably leading you into it without realizing it.
You get this little smirky grin on yourself, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, you're saying this, do it this way, and you'll actually kind of coach it through.
Now,
and it's nice, and that helps, and it sticks with me more.
But I had to work on that myself because I would get mad. It's like, I don't like it when you say don't. I don't want you to say don't. And even in the conversation, yes, even when I did the smirky smile, I was like, but what I literally said, what do you want? What do you? When I was saying, I wasn't using the actual word don't, but I was like, I'm this and this. You finally went and said, what is it what gets you excited? And in that moment, and here's a level up for everybody listening, in that moment, I had to let go of everything I was holding on to because I was afraid to hurt your feelings. I was afraid to lose the show. But I was like, I had to be selfish. And I said, you gave me permission. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer it honestly, maybe even brutally honestly, and say, this is what gets me excited. And when I just answered, it changed that whole flow of the conversation from being lost and don't and
making each other wrong. Because it went, but you didn't make me wrong in that. You're like, right. You're not doing this, and you're not, and this is not. It wasn't about that. It's like, this is what I want. Yeah. If there's no blame there. This is what I want. Right. I'm sharing. It's an open heart.
I think I even went into the conversation making myself wrong, and that's something else to consider. Everybody is sometimes when you feel wrong, you're making yourself wrong, and I had to let go of that because we talked through it. It was a long time. We might edit it down and put it out there, but. It was I in that moment I was saying I can't do this, I'm losing that, and you just stopped me and asked me the question. I said, okay, I'm gonna tell you what I want. And then when I did that to you in a different way, which was, what do you want? Just stop telling me all this other stuff. What do you want? You told me what you wanted. Then we were both on the same page, and then we could build new. Yep. And that was where it was. And that's how you can fix your toxicity, and that's how you can level up your life.
Now, one of the ways, I'm going to switch on this because I wanted to talk about this in an episode or so ago. One of the ways that helped me get into this conversation, helped me be okay with it, I've been reading a book recently by Mendy Audlin, and I thought it was Mindy, but I guess it's Mendy Audlin, A-U-D-L-I-N.
She's never broken, she can mend it.
The book is What If It All Goes Right? And basically you can go to whatifup.com. Whenever you're working on a new project or you're dealing with a situation or whatever it is, often we're like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? You have a great idea, this brilliant idea. Yeah, but what if this happens? You hear my voice, it's usually what if Downing. What if you take that same thing and you go, okay, well, what if this happens? You find something that's good. What if, my thought process before I talked to Charles, and believe me, it hit me right there in the solar plexus. I was nauseous about this, but this helped. What if this actually leads us into where Success Freaks is supposed to go? What if this is a great idea? Because it wasn't just him saying, hey, look, we need to deal with this. It was him. He talked to Nolan, Success Freaks Nolan. So I knew there was something else there. What if this actually leads us where we want to go? What if it doesn't work out and we both go our separate ways, but what if that is something that's great for both of us as well? So I was able to what if up. Another thing that is in the works is that Success Freaks is going to be on an AM radio station fairly soon. I think it's coming out of Gastonia, North Carolina. What I would do is just kind of, I don't have to deal with this, and I talk myself out of it. Instead, I'm like, what if this is great? What if it's the thing that the next step? What if we just learn a lot from this experience? That brought me to a point where I could act, where I wanted to act. I was enthusiastic about it. It gave me a lightness to my, to my being. I wanted to do this, and now we're moving forward. I wasn't getting in my own way, and this small thing helped me do this. So I highly recommend. This is the book that I'm reading now, What If It All Goes Right by Mendy Audlin. On Kindle, which is how I'm reading it. Unfortunately, it's not Audible that I could find. So
that's awesome. And I want to talk more about What If Up and the the On Beyond. Now, some stations, this will be the end of it. So you can find us at successfreaks.com. We do almost an hour-long podcast, so you'll get the next segment that you might not get here. Some stations will pick up all of it. So you can also download it at successfreaks.com and listen again and share it with your friends. Email us, contact at successfreaks, facebook.com/successfreaks. We're there. iTunes, rate us on iTunes, download it there, subscribe to the show, and you know what? Just hit us up, put a post on our page. We will respond. We will email you back, and we'll put it on. Sir, let's move out.
Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. This has been R. Mordant Mon.
And I'm the what if up here. I didn't think about my name. What if that was awesome?
Ciao, Success Freaks. Boom, baby. Nice. Reset. We'll talk about a little bit about the station because I want to pimp them out in this next segment because I think this will be one of the ones that actually transitions into their show or into their station.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I'm going to put 12 minutes on the clock so we can hit the mark easier.
Yeah, what is it? Because now it's less time, isn't it?
Yes, we were doing right up to the bump of 60 minutes. Now it's 54 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm cutting 2 minutes off of what we should have available to allow for the front bumper, music, transition. We can sell some ads ourselves inside of our show.
Yep.
We can make our own ad for stuff. I'll get Erin to make an ad for her channel.
We could do music in between. I wouldn't mind music in between the breaks.
That's what is there.
Oh, it is there?
It's supposed to be there. I don't listen full enough to get to the breaks.
I haven't.
So, but when we first started this, it was.
Yep, you're
when
right.
we come back, he'll put up a. Okay. No, he doesn't do
and
a
that's
full.
Why you're putting markers
he doesn't
here.
do a full freaking 30 seconds like I want him to. You jackass. This is actually we cut out. I don't know why I'm talking to him. Because he's like, but nobody wants to hear 30 seconds of music. I'm like, I'm the producer. Shut up. Do it anyway. He does like 10
That's
seconds.
a long time. He's right.
I know, but you're holding a commercial spot open.
Yeah, but
so put in something entertaining that people are like.
It in there.
I'm so happy. No, what happens is if he cuts it to 59 minutes.
McFall is schooling me right now.
I'm schooling him, and this is what we'll listen to. If you make a show that we want to sell and you cut it to 59 minutes and leave 5 seconds, something has to go in the content because we didn't leave a commercial spot in the middle.
Right.
If we're cutting our segments to time, it should be flowable, but that wasn't the point.
But now
I wanted it this way, damn it.
Now we don't need those 30 seconds in there because it's going to go to the radio station.
It's fine. We got it. And we're going to start putting some ads for like Bish in the Now, or in the Now with Jim Swilly. We can let him do an ad. We can do Aaron's channel. We can do More at World channel. We can just start putting in stuff to get used to that. And get people used to that. All right, 12 minutes on the clock. I'll pop us in here. Okay, still going there.
12 minutes and then we have air conditioning again.
Yeah. Hey, this is On Beyond the Success Freaks, where we go bigger, better, more into the topics of the discussion. And we're talking about change is the only constant in life. We're talking about toxicity. And we left it on the broadcast with whatifup.com. And until, honestly, right this second, I didn't, well, until you said it in the show, really, again, and you've been mentioning it, I realized I kind of lived there. And I say kind of, because there are situations where I'm like, I will talk myself out of it. I'm like, no, it's not what I want, because I don't like going backwards. And there's a current situation where I feel like I'm going a little bit backwards, but if you really flip your perception and do the what if up, what if this would be great? The universe had to say, okay, yes, you were rocking along this way and totally walking away from that in the past. But I'm going to show you a little sub part where this will help. I'm bringing you something good. And Aaron kept trying to show me the good, and anybody else I told about it tried to say, oh, that's cool. And I'm going, but I don't want to go backwards. I don't like it. So I don't always live in what if up. But for the most part, man, I always thought I was just adventurous and what's new. And people would always get scared around me because a lot of times in general society all over the world, somebody who always just goes on to the new thing gets bored. And my mom even accused me of that. You just get bored easy. And I go, no, I need to be. Now, I didn't know what to say then. Now I say, no, I need to be challenged. I'm always needing to learn. I'm always hungry to learn. So if I'm doing the same repetitive thing and not learning something, what I've learned is my energy is going to go elsewhere. And I said this actually about this time last year, was if we don't get ready for what's coming, and I didn't know exactly I was going to be laid off. I knew at some point I wasn't going to have that job. I said, if we don't get ready and Success Freaks doesn't step up to capture this interest, my energy is going to go somewhere else. It didn't. We stepped up enough. Morning, you rode that ride with me. But going back to what if up, is I realize it's not the adventure, it's not the excitement of something new. It's anytime somebody throws something at me, it's like, what if this is going to be awesome? I don't think that. I might think it now, but what if it's going to be awesome? I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I can make that happen. Yeah, let's figure it out. I don't know. Let's see what happens. And I love the idea of what if up.
Yeah, one of the things that you said, it's not always what if upping towards the good thing. It's like, what if I talk to this one girl, the girl that kept calling you all the time? What if I talk to her and suddenly my friends are pissed off at me? Okay, well, what if that break from my friends actually gives me enough time to be able to go in the direction I was wanting to go? So although it might be not the greatest of things, it led you to a great thing. Now, what's interesting about what you're talking about, another things that I'm reading, is that this excitement, this buzz of being challenged and moving on, it hits your reward center. Now, your brain has a reward center, and when that and floods you with dopamine, which is a good feeling, what that does, it gets you to move so that you can be successful in whatever goal you want to achieve. Now, once you achieve that goal, it hits a different part of your brain. That happiness, that achieving of the goal is different than that moving towards it. But you need something to move you towards it. That's what, in a bad way, that's what gamblers, addictive gamblers, keep doing. We want to get that buzz. Facebook, maybe I'm going to get a new thing here. Maybe somebody's going to say something cool. Oh, look, it did happen. Playing video games. Look, I'm leveling up my character. Oh, look, I succeeded. Different places of the brain, but that dopamine buzz is what keeps us forward. So if you find yourself somewhat bored in life, you're like, this isn't doing it for me. It's not giving you that buzz. You have to find a way that it's going to feed your reward center. And you can do that yourself.
For us, it's helping others be awesome. Yeah, and not being trite, not being catchphrasy. It literally is. When I found myself at an office where after the first 6 months, I was there for 5 years before I left the office and came home and worked. But after the first 6 months, I knew everything there was to do in the building.
Right.
I mean, I could work, not literally sit down and do every job, but I could do enough to help you through to where I looked after departments. Even though I wasn't a supervisor, when the supervisor left, she's like, hey, take care of my girls. Okay, I'll look after them. And they would turn to me and go, what do we do about this? I can handle that. 6 months into a job I was there. There was nothing else for me to learn. And I didn't want to be a supervisor. There was no desire to move up. So I almost destroyed the job because I wrote a letter for my review talking about how I was a caged lion and how they've tracked me and all this stuff, and I still kept my job. My boss was like, are you crazy? My immediate supervisor, and she looked after me. I think she may have buried the letter. I don't know what she did. And what I realized was I had to have a different perception, and so I started talking to people because I don't go to work to make friends, but I started then helping others be awesome. And I started my show Bear Crawling then because I needed an outlet, and that helped. But what I realized is in the office, I would just get into conversations, and I call it a verbal hand grenade. I'd hear them talking about something that would drive me nuts. I'm like, I want to see what they do. I'd say, well, I would just throw out, and a lot of times it's religious. So it's like, what if prayer doesn't work? Boom. And I'd see the people who would just, I'd avoid them. But the guy who'd want to discuss it with me, I would talk to him. And he was helping me, and I'm helping him. So what I found was helping others be awesome gave me the buzz, for lack of better words. But for me, it was the leveling, the connection, the energy. It gave me energy. I guess that's another way to put it. It gives you energy to where you really want to do it more, and that's called passion.
It's that positive aggravation. You're aggravated the way your life is. You're aggravated the way your job is, whatever that is, and it forces us to move on. It gives you that impetus to move on and build a better mousetrap. We're changing Success Freaks because it's not doing it for us right now. We want this to be the best experience that we can have so that you can have a great experience, so that we're building a better mousetrap because of this. Now, I talk about that dopamine buzz. It comes from the book The Willpower Instinct, How Self-Control Works, Why It Matters, and What You Can Do to Get More of It by Kelly McGonigal. It's on our Goodreads. It's on our Goodreads page, so you can find that, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, but that forced you to go, look, this is not working for me. Whether it was your job before, but you've mastered everything. I mastered the universe, and I'm bored.
Yeah.
That's why That's why evil geniuses keep trying to take over the world. They want something more. Once they get the world, they're not going to be satisfied. So they're going to move on. They're going to start getting the galaxy. And then they're going to go ahead and they're going to start taking the universe. And that's why we have, you know, the Avengers to help us out.
Yeah. Actually, I was going with Game of Thrones and that evil little word weed that I don't want to say there, that little king, Joffrey.
Yeah.
But that was a good, honestly, if you really go with this mindset, go and look at that, you see how they wrote that character super well. Is he wanted this, and when he got it, he was bored, so he started doing horrible things to people. Then he was bored, he started doing worse things. I mean, he started, like, I think messing with animals, and he messed with people, and then it just became, everybody's my puppet, I have to mess with the closest people to me, to the point that something bad happens.
Yeah.
You know?
But
that's life.
You think he was part of it with him was that he was a little cray-cray. Sometimes there's
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, I'm not saying if you're bored, you're going to do horrible things to people. But yeah, it's an energy thing. It is an energy thing. If everybody has energy, and if you're not finding a place, see, I don't like the word bored. I'm not usually bored. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what to do, which may be definition bored. But when I'm in that job and I've learned everything and there's nothing more for me to learn, I feel like I'm dying because I'm not growing. And that's me. I'm black and white that way. If I'm not growing, I feel like I'm dying. That's why if you ever, I think it's still out there somewhere, if you ever go find the bear crawling shows and listen from the beginning to the end, which there's 300 of them, so good luck with that, you'll see it change every 50 shows or so. It changes something because I learned and I grew and I couldn't do the same thing anymore.
Listen, you're either expanding in your own personal life, you're stagnant at a standstill, or you're imploding in upon yourself. Right now, they talked about how the universe is expanding. We have an expanding universe, and eventually it'll get to its certain point where it'll begin imploding on itself. But that's not where we are. That's not where you are. It's not where Charles and I are. You always want to be expanding. You always want to be putting yourself out there, trying new things. It will feed your reward center, which is going to keep you going in doing other things. Now, you can make a choice. People can make a choice. We make a choice sometimes where it's like, you know what? I'm bored with my life, so I'm going to look for this escape. I don't feel good with my life, so I'm going to immediately, let me go to Facebook. And I'll find this in just moments of doing stuff. I'm working on a story or I'm working on an article, and I'm like, I don't really, hey, what's on Facebook? So it's just even a moment. I'm not talking about the big stuff. My life sucks, so I'm going to destroy it. No, it could be something small. I'm working on a project that's really important. I'm bored for a moment. My brain goes, hey, go here. Hey, look at this. Hey, do this. And I feel jazzed. I got to find a better way of not doing it.
Let's talk about a phenomenon that happened maybe even 10 years ago. I'm not sure how long it's been out.
Phenomenon.
Shut up. 2004, I think, is when World of Warcraft launched. And it was a huge thing for a year or two. I mean, it just grew and grew and grew, and I'm not talking about the game itself. The game is still popular, but the phenomenon of people losing their lives to this world. They were getting in-game married. And it was causing problems in their marriages in real life.
There's a group of people called Widows of Warcraft.
Yes. You don't hear about so much anymore. I don't know if it's died down, but it's because it was this escape, this life, and the problem came with them not wanting to invest the time in their lives, their actual real-world life. You didn't want to invest the time, and that's where the issue lies. And that may be where we deal with toxicity, we deal with anger, we don't want to deal with these things in ourselves. But in the World of Warcraft world, or fill in the blank, Facebook, TV, golfing, hunting, shopping, whatever you fill in the blank with, maybe it's all just a coping mechanism.
Now, everything in moderation. Don't get us wrong. We're not saying, hey, you got to kill all your fun, because there's times where you get a release. Charles and I both play video games. Charles is actually creating a successful business out of it. And there's everything in moderation. It's okay as long as you can do that. But if that's the thing that's feeding you and it's pulling you away from expanding in your own life, hey, look, I'm creating a character on this world that somebody else made versus I'm creating a life for myself so that I am having a rich life. If you're doing that instead, then you got to look at it. If the dopamine buzz is just hitting for that one thing, you got to try to adjust that to your own life. So
we've got so much more to say, but we are at time. So it has been a really good new adventure. I like the changes that we've made. I was mocking him earlier, and for those of you listening, you can't see the cameras, and it is on Google Plus, SuccessFreaks.com. No, there's ways to find it. It's go to Google Plus and find Success Freaks.
Video?
We'll learn how to. Yeah, the video is always up there. You can watch it. It's on YouTube.com/Success
Freaks. Is it?
Freaks.
I don't know. Just go into YouTube and hit Success Freaks. Don't make me
Yeah,
do it
and a lot.
right now.
No, don't do it right now. We don't have time. So, but you'll see, I'm doing like motions to him, like I'm right here, because we're in habits of talking to the microphone, and we're building. I liked it. We did make a habit today. I started a habit. 25 days later, it'll be a habit of talking to each other, and I like that. But we've got to get out of here. Find everything at successfreaks.com. You know the email. Yeah, that's our Mort Mon. I'm Charles McFall. I'm not even on camera.
Hey! Ciao, Dream Hunters. I hope that you had a great time. Boom, baby.
There you go.